Election Day 2023 officially in the books. In Mississippi, Republican Governor Tate Reeves won his bid for a second term over Democrat challenger Brandon Presley. But that was one of a few big wins for Republicans for what was expected to be a bigger night. In Kentucky, Democrat Governor Andy Beshear secured a re-election victory over Attorney General David Cameron. Democrats also notched wins in some close battles for control of state legislatures. In Virginia, they swept control of now both the state assembly and the Senate, dealing a massive blow to Republican Governor Glenn Youngkin and the future of his conservative agenda. Abortion was on that agenda. A ban at 15 weeks, and then he changed the word from ban in the last few days. Maybe not enough. It was a similar story in New Jersey. I lived there. I saw a million ads. Democrats managed to maintain control of the state legislature while flipping some seats as well. Abortion is shaping up to be a driving factor heading into 2024. I say that flatly because didn't we already know? In Ohio, voters decided to add abortion rights to the state's constitution, becoming the 7th state where voters have approved abortion access since the Dobbs decision. Something you tweeted about and then also said really hit me. You said polls do not equal votes.
Yeah. Yes, Harris, that is my number one message to Republicans. We'll get to abortion, next. But number one, a poll can look good for you, but that doesn't mean you're going to be victorious. We've seen this time and time again. Republicans, I would argue, have not had a good night since November of 2021 when Glenn Youngkin won. It's been 2 years since we had a good night in the Republican Party. I think we're clear-eyed about that. Message for Democrats, though, after last night, you won in spite of Joe Biden, not because of Joe Biden. And in Politico Playbook, they're saying that they're celebrating in Wilmington, Delaware. They feel vindicated. Biden was basking in the moment, and they were even sending out dark Brandon memes. Do that at your own peril, because Biden is an albatross, and last night was not vindication in any way, shape, or form.
All right, let's get to abortion. Where are Republicans on this message, and where should they be? Because they're not winning with it.
Well, I know we're going to talk about abortion even later in the show, but Republicans have a massive messaging problem. When you look at the major issues that people go to the polls for to vote, when it comes to abortion, the Democrats are unified and the Republicans are completely fractured. From extreme pro-life to where you can access abortion whatsoever to there have to be restrictions on it. And moving forward, they have to get their messaging together. Going to the local level. My husband just ran for our local township council, unsuccessfully, unfortunately. But what I saw happen last night locally in Jersey is Republicans have a massive voter turnout problem. And when it comes to early voting, the Democrats are like 4-1, at least locally in New Jersey. And the margin of which the Democrats continue to win are those that are putting out the mail-in ballots. And so for 2024, that is what Republicans need to focus on, because if Republican voters remain complacent, it doesn't matter. So everyone who went out and voted, good for you. But people who stayed home, these problems, the failing education systems, the cannabis taking over, to Democratic-run cities with high crime and the migrants coming in, this is your problem as much as the policies that are being in place.
George, I just want to say that last night, and what Dr. Sapphire is saying is so true. Last night should have seen long lines with Republicans in them, because they are not winning the message. The RNC with Ronna McDaniel at the helm trying to get out that message of vote early. Well, that's hard to back up when for years you've told people that's how Democrats cheat. And it wasn't, the thing that you didn't want to tell them. It's just that now you've got to play on an even playing field. I had Chris Sununu, the governor out of New Hampshire, say, you got to play by their rules now or you're not going to win.
Yeah. Well, I would say, going back to the enthusiasm gap, that, when we fast forward to 24, we're going to have the leader of our party and the leader of theirs. And there's no way around the polling data that shows that President Biden, if he is the Democratic nominee, will lose to no matter who our nominee is. So let's be clear. These were local state races. So the Ohio ballot propositions were singular issues: testing, abortion, legalization of marijuana. There were attempts to try to nationalize these races, but let's be honest, these are local state races. So I'm a little bit more bullish on our prospects as a party. I think as it relates to abortion, as long as we're presenting it as a pro-family agenda, going back to homelessness, crime, education choice, I feel that's going to sell a lot better. And the natural reaction after Dobbs is, yes, of course, we want to try to expand that aperture at the state level. But for the conservative judicial lawyers in the room. The point of eliminating Roe v. Wade is to allow the states to make that determination. I happen to be pro-life. I'll continue to fight for that. In Texas, we do that, and we're all about that. But this is about giving families the first voice in government.
Emily.
Yeah, I think the two main takeaways from last night, number one, abortion as an issue is not waning. We will get to that in a moment. And also that Democrats are energized. And Washington Post had, I think, a great summation that sort of synthesized actually all of your guys' answers, where they said, there's a real question about Republicans about whether they just don't turn out when Trump's not on the ballot. No, is that it? And they go on to point out, Bashir was an incumbent. Virginia leans blue normally. And even if Democrats as a whole are well poised, they say, which this is to your point, it doesn't necessarily mean Biden, with all of his various liabilities, will be able to take advantage. But all of that is only true if the GOP does not come to the table with some type of strategy that harnesses voters at that early time, because we are clearly losing something between the polls and the concepts and the actual voting.
All right, we'll move.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kayleigh McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.